Welcome to Between the Reads, where we shine a spotlight on some of the most talented Black authors in the industry to discuss their works of fiction and the inspirations behind them. Each episode will dive into the rich and diverse world of literature, exploring everything from historical fiction to romance and speculative fiction to YA and beyond. Tune in as we celebrate the voices of Black authors and the power of storytelling. Are you ready, Booze and Bros? Then sit back, relax, and let's get to it. D.M. Lurie was born in the city of Ajax on the shores of Lake Ontario, Canada. She studied for an honors BFA in film production management at York University in Toronto, and upon completion of her course, moved to nearby Pickering. She still lives there today with her husband, their son, and two very spoiled cats. Following her graduation, she took up a sales position at Cineplex Entertainment. She then spent the next 11 years in the promotional merchandise industry, where she currently directs the Canadian production team. In her free time, D.M. Lurie enjoys listening to audiobooks, learning a new language, singing, making jewelry, and binging anything on TV that incorporates her love of supernatural worlds and creatures. She enjoys spending time with her two best friends, the same friends she's had for the past 20 years. Having suffered from anxiety and depression, D.M. Lurie is keen on recognizing and supporting others who also battle mental health issues. Her book, The EOS Key, touches on these subjects, and she hopes that it and its central characters will help to make the stigma around mental health a thing of the past. Deanna, welcome to Between the Reads.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Did I say your last name right?
You did, Lurie.
Lurie, okay.
I don't know why it's so hard.
Yes, I wasn't sure. I should have asked before we started the show, but I was like,
That's quite all right. You know what? It's at this point now where I just kind of accept it. So you can call me DM, call me D, whatever you like, whatever works for you.
Okay. So tell us what this book, The EOS Key, is all about.
This book, The EOS Key Winter Blood Book 1, it's the book that I always wanted to read, essentially. It's about a young woman, so I'll tell you what it's actually about. It's about a young Black woman, Aaliyah Carter. She's 21 years old. She is a suicide survivor, and she has left her childhood home to make a name for herself, to make her own life. And while doing so, she saves the life of a vampire who's looking to end his existence. So their paths cross, and it's up to her to try and help him, or she puts it upon herself, actually, to help him to realize that, you know what, maybe there is more to life, even after living over 300 years. So.
Yeah, I guess.
So a 21-year-old is helping a 300-something-year-old vampire understand that, like, life is precious every single day. And there's always something to live for.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did the idea for this book come from?
That's a long question, but I'll try and make it very short.
We got time.
The original story, I'm a huge, as you read in my bio, I'm a huge fan of fantasy. I think at the time I was like hot into not the Vampire Diaries, True Blood, and the Vampire Diaries, the originals. Like, I'm a huge fan of the supernatural, and I noticed kind of a trend in all of these is that there were no Black main characters. The originals was the closest, with Marcel, who was like the main baddie, and always my favorite. And even in everybody's favorite, I find this everybody's favorite, the Vampire Diaries, Bonnie was just treated so horribly in this show, especially when you compare it to the books. Like, it was great that, you know, they changed Bonnie's character and made her a Black young woman. She was no longer had her Scottish heritage. She had her own kind of story, but she was really abused in that show. Anyway. Okay. And I just felt like there was this reoccurring theme that, like, the Black character was the expendable character, and it seems like traditionally, stereotypically, in those types of books, the Black character is always the expendable character. So I wanted to have Aaliyah
Mm-hmm.
be at the forefront, and the second issue being a lot of these books that we see, a lot of these shows that we see, we have these women who are presented as these warriors. They're
Mm-hmm.
presented as these strong women who know how to battle, they wield weapons,
Mm-hmm.
and they may be scared at first, but at the end of the book, they're slicing up demons and fighting dragons. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want that. I didn't want to perpetuate the stereotype of the strong black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Not every black woman is a strong black woman, and not
Right.
every, in that sense, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
physical sense,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the fight to get to a next day
Mm-hmm.
is
Tremendous.
the tremendous, it's absolutely
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to show that, you know, it's not, somebody can have power and it doesn't have to be in strength, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a physical power. They can have mental stability, they can learn to um, to love themselves, to learn to appreciate themselves and to give themselves value.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Aaliyah does in this book throughout the course of it. She starts off kind of very insecure, and by the end of the book, she's kind of she knows what she wants for herself, and
Mm-hmm.
she's putting her foot down. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a lot of things, a lot of things. I
Right.
wanted to make a witch that didn't have powers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to put a black woman at the forefront. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk about mental health issues in a fantasy genre where a lot of the time we don't hear about that,
Right.
and make sure that my character was relatable in the sense that she's like me. I put a
Mm-hmm.
lot of myself into her. She's battling with these mental health issues
Mm-hmm.
and trying to figure out life. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Side note, and for anybody that's not watching, you need to go watch on YouTube. I'm about to embarrass the hell out of you. I love your dimples. I love them. I have a thing for dimples. I've always wanted dimples, and I'm just like, oh my God, look at her dimples. The whole time you're talking, I'm like, look at her dimples.
I
They're
even gave
gorgeous.
my character dimples.
You did. You did.
I
I'm just like,
did.
oh, she's got dimples. Look at
Oh,
the
thank
dimples.
you.
Love it. Love the
It's like the one
dimples.
thing I gave to my son too. Like he looks just like his
Really?
daddy,
Uh-huh.
except he's got like my eyes and my dimples,
Oh, I love dimples.
and the
I always
curly
wanted
hair.
dimples. Like I have a little bit
You
if
got
I
them
do like that.
there? Yeah, yeah.
But I have to make the stupid face to get them, so it doesn't work.
Well, these came with.
Yeah,
These came
they're
pre-installed.
gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
So you created quite a rich world with this book, The EOS Key. Yeah, you did. So tell us what I want you to tell our readers what an EOS is, what a key is, what wards are, what soups are. Let's just delve into this world a little bit.
The EOS. So the EOS is tradition. Should I talk about the book or should I talk about like what an actual EOS is? Because an EOS is an actual
In the
thing.
book.
Yeah, in the book. Okay, so in the book,
But I did not
Aaliyah
know that it's an
Carter.
actual thing.
Yes.
So I mean you could talk about that too.
An Eos is a Greek goddess, the goddess of the dawn. She's supposed to bring about a new day.
Okay.
And when I figured that out, when I heard that, I was like, I'm going to use this as a character plotline.
Okay.
So, book 2, spoiler. But the Eos in this book, she is from a long line of very powerful witches, powerful supernatural beings, or soups, as I call them in the book. And her blood, she's the only one alive where her blood gives power to other supernatural creatures. So if you're a vampire and you drink her blood, you now can run faster, jump higher, you have more strength. If you are a demon, you might be able to now read minds. If you are another witch, it enhances the power that you have. So people are after her to get her blood, to use her essentially as a blood bank to power themselves. And the key is Eric Winter. So Eric is, do I have a picture? I do. Okay. These two right here. I don't know if you can see them. That's a rendering.
I mean, it's also behind you as well, right?
And there's Eric and Leah. And Eric is the 300-something-year-old vampire. He is a ward for the council, for the Accords, and the key for Aaliyah. So the key is the only one that can actually activate the power of the Eos's blood. And I'm trying not to give too many spoilers away.
Right.
But that's what a key is. the Winters, so there's the Winter family. There's Lucien, who's the older brother. There's Eric, who's our main MC.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Anna, who's the sister. And they
Mm-hmm.
are all a family of vampires who are wards for the Accords. And the Accords
Mm-hmm.
are the supernatural reigning council of the world. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason that they are the reigning council is because 300 years ago, they found the first Eos, or the first one that they know of,
Mm-hmm.
and bound that witch's power to them. So they are immortal. They are the most powerful creatures in the
Mm-hmm.
entire world, and they are self-elected governing body, essentially, over
Mm-hmm.
creatures. And no one likes them because of this. They've
Well,
decided
I
that
mean,
they're
I
going
wouldn't
to...
like them either because they tell all the wards, y'all can't have nobody. You can't have no
That's
love
right. One of the
interest.
rules
All
of
you,
being a
yeah.
ward is you can only be with your family,
Mm-hmm.
or like the closest people to you. So if you have a coven is usually made up of your family and your family
Mm-hmm.
members
Mm-hmm.
extended.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a vampire, it's your closest. Your essentially your family if they are
Right.
vampires and still
Right.
alive,
Right.
and you can't have love interests at
Yeah.
all.
That sucks.
So yeah,
That's
it's the
why
only way
nobody
to make
likes
sure
them.
that exactly, and they don't really care about anything about themselves. They're very there's a lot of infighting happening,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all just trying to one up one another. That's all they care about now.
But
So
I mean, why do they not want anybody to have love interests? What is that?
I remember this is all 300 years ago,
Right?
but they felt like by not allowing them to have love interests, they would put the constituents of their territory first. So each ward has a section of a state or a province that they look after, and they oversee all of the supernatural activity in that area, and they are supposed to make judgment calls on behalf of the council. And
Mm-hmm.
so to ensure that there's never any bias on their part, they
Mm-hmm.
are not allowed to be with anybody. They're not allowed to have familiar like interest, love interest outside of their family.
That's some bullshit. That's all I'm
Yes.
saying.
It is
That's
very hard. It is very hard.
ah
Yeah. To not be with the
no.
thing that brings you comfort and love.
And
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 it's
and
very
then
lonely.
people are just picked to be wards. It's not like they have much of a
Yes.
choice.
No, they don't have a choice. Back in the day when Lucien, Anna, and Eric were all out gathering wards for the council, they were kind of unaware of what the council was doing. And so they found the strongest supernatural creatures in the world, and they brought them to the council and said, "Here you go." And the council picked and chose and said, "I want you, and you're going to do our bidding for the rest of your eternal life." Essentially.
Just
Yeah.
that's it. You're gonna do it, and I don't want to hear it.
And you have no choice. And
And you have
anybody who goes against them essentially gets hunted down and burned to the ground. It's an old. I tried to do an old adage on the Big Bad Wolf and the Three
mm-hmm,
Little Pigs.
mm-hmm,
So the what happens historically
mm-hmm,
is wolves will the council will send wolves out to hunt
mm-hmm,
down the perpetrators,
mm-hmm.
and then the wolves will work with the witches to burn the houses down. So the old adage is like the wolf comes and he blows the house down with the
Right.
pigs, but these wolves come in and they burn the houses down with the witches. So more
I
to
mean,
come.
I mean, that's pretty rough. You're telling them that you don't have a choice. This is what you have to be, and if you don't do it, we're gonna burn your shit down and kill
And we're
you.
gonna
That's
burn your
it.
shit down and kill you. That's it. We will hunt you until the end of our days to make sure you know that.
Right. And it's like not like you can hide from them because they're wolves
They're
and they
everywhere.
have scent and they can
Yes.
smell and track you
Wolves
down.
are the best trackers and hunters in my world, anyway. Wolves
So you can't hide.
trained to hunt. Yes,
Yeah.
you cannot hide. They have like lookouts everywhere. In every
Yeah.
state, in every city, there's a lookout. Whether it's a ward or not, there's someone on that's being paid by the council
Mm-hmm.
or threatened by the council.
Like Theo and his mean old self.
Yeah. There is Theo. Theo is the antagonist. He's also Eric's ex-boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so there is definitely some queer rep in the book. Eric is pansexual,
Mm-hmm.
and Aaliyah is an ally, and Theo is Eric's ex-lover. So
Right.
there's,
Well,
and he's
I,
also a hunter for the council. So
right. Well, I will skip ahead and go back to some of the other questions that because since you touched on that, so intersectionality is
I'm
a
just yapping
theme.
away. I'm so sorry, Audrey.
No, that is what this is all about, ma'am. That is what this is
Okay.
all about. It just makes sense to move the questions around.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
intersectionality is a theme in your book. So, share more about why you chose to have that in your story.
You mean the relationship with Theo and Eric and
Yeah, and
Aaliyah
not only
and
that, there's
yeah.
like an intersectionality between like the witches and the vampires, and
Oh, fair
so
enough.
there, yeah, so
Um,
it's like it's kind of
to be
weaved throughout the
honest,
book.
I can I let you in on a little secret?
Sure.
Secret, okay, between the
Listen,
read
y'all,
secret.
she getting ready to share a secret, y'all.
This is between the read secret, okay?
Okay.
I didn't know what world building was when I wrote the book. I had no idea. I had zero idea. None. Until after the third draft was done and someone was like, this is amazing world building. And I was like, Google,
you,
what is world building?
you were like, yes, it is. Going home.
Yes, absolutely. I meant to do
What
that.
did I just do? World building.
I had no idea. None. So when it comes to like the witches and the wolves and the demons and all of that, I have nothing to tell you other than it was just where it came, like where the story kind of went.
Right.
I wanted to make it there. Okay, part of it was planned a little bit because I wanted to, in book 2, I won't give too much away, but we learn a little bit more about why witches are looked down upon in book 1. There's a theme, and I don't really explain it very much in book 1, but the general consensus is that witches are at the bottom of the supernatural totem pole. We have like demons, and then we have vampires and werewolves, and then we have witches. And there's a whole reason behind that. So I wanted to use that as to give it a little more background later on. I don't want to give too much away, but there's definitely a cultural background as to why witches are looked at the way they are, unfortunately.
Okay.
And more will come to light. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Looking forward to that. So
thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get book 2 like done and out.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So tell us about Aaliyah and Eric, their relationship, but also they both battle mental health issues that kind of stem from traumas in their lives and situations in their lives, and they both have attempted suicide and they both survived. So tell us more about their relationship and why you chose to tackle that kind of heavy topic of suicide.
Absolutely. I have been affected by suicide. I have lost friends to suicide. I have friends who are survivors. And I have been in a position where I felt that way. And I think it's important. It's not something that's talked about enough. There are so many people suffering silently. Kind of like Aaliyah does in the book. She just wants to be to herself. She doesn't like to stand out. She tries to stay out of people's way. She doesn't like to be noticed. But really, she's suffering. She misses her parents. Her parents were killed, and when she was a child. And every day, she, for 16 years, she thought that they would come back. And then on her 16th birthday, she found out that they were not. They're not coming back, and they were actually killed years and years ago. And that was very, very hard for her, building up almost 16 years of wishing your parents would come back. So once she gets out of under the thumb of her uncle, she moves out, and she's like, okay, this is me now. I'm going to try and do something with my life. And she becomes a waitress at a hotel. And on her way home one night, she meets Eric. And Eric is, like I said, a 300-year-old vampire. He has had very bad experiences in love. His family don't really treat him the way he hopes they would.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be very close with them, with his sister and his brother, especially his sister. And that relationship, ever since they lost other family members, other siblings, has degraded to the point where over 300 years, that resentment and the sadness and the depression has just compacted so much. And Eric has started toying with the idea of death. So he knows he's a vampire. He knows it takes a lot for him to die. As a ward, especially, he has kind of an extra layer of protection. And he tries different ways. He tries many different ways to see if it will end his existence.
Right.
And that's when Aaliyah meets him, and she kind of has a flashback as to her episode, to her event, and on instinct just tries to save him. So has no idea what he is, who he is, just tries to reach out. And yeah, like I said, the reason I wanted to tackle it was because it's not talked about enough. It's not, there's still this stigma around people talking about their mental health issues, people talking about being so depressed that suicide seems like the only option, people with anxiety that puts them into panic attacks, or has a detrimental effect on their health. These are everyday things that people live with all the time. All the time.
Absolutely.
Not everybody is perfect. And I noticed in a lot of the books that I was reading as well that even if there was some sort of mental health rep in the book, that character was still physically like a warrior. They had their doubts, but when it came to, they know how to like wield a blade or throw a punch or something like that. And I wanted my characters to be softer, I guess. There's definitely a lot of gore and blood in this book, but their hearts, I wanted their passions and their motivations. That's what I'm looking for. I wanted their motivations to be softer. Not let's defeat the evil king or the evil queen, but let's make a life for ourselves and let's learn how to survive and give ourselves value in the world. So.
Yeah, and you also I like how you had her, because she had an ex, Jared, who was abusive.
Jared. Yes, he's an abusive ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and so I like the way that you had her deal with him as well. Like, she was scared of him, but she also found the courage within herself to stand up to him and say no. You know, and that and people don't realize that takes a lot of courage to be able to a lot of courage to be able to stand up to somebody, even when he was saying, you know, you can't get rid of me. And she, you know, even though she's scared shitless, she's just like, no, I don't.
She values her life enough that she wasn't going to let Jared do that to her.
Yeah.
So,
and
I should say that there are some trigger warnings in this book. I did mention some trigger warnings in the beginning, so for anybody who may be affected by these topics, I'm okay if you choose not to read my book.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not the way the book is written. It's not done. There's like, it's not unnecessary violence or anything like that. You know, there's a little bit of rough housing that happens, but it's not enough that it would, well, it didn't trigger me, and I'm a sensitive reader.
It's not a full-on sexual assault.
No.
But she is assaulted in the park.
Yeah. He does kind of grab her, but, you know, I'm a sensitive reader, and it didn't, you know, I was just like, come on. I was like, somebody come save her.
Somebody do something.
Somebody come save her.
I'm so happy that that invoked that reaction.
Yes.
Thank you. That means I did something right. So I appreciate that.
Yes. And that's when awesome. Kevin clean, or Keith, Kevin.
Yes.
He cleaned his clock. I was like, yeah. Go.
Kevin came out and
go, Kevin, go. Yep. He was like, bruh, she ain't the one.
No.
You want to keep moving.
Off.
Right.
That's right.
You want to keep moving. And he was just like, you know, he tried to be all tough, and he knocked his ass.
Even he walked away with a bloody nose and tears in his eyes.
Yep. I was like, that's what you get. That's what
Oh,
you
that's
get.
awesome. Thank you
Yes.
so much. That means so
Yes.
much to me.
Yeah.
I'm still got imposter syndrome with this book.
Girl,
I wrote
let
it for
me
me.
tell
I didn't
y'all
write it for
something.
anybody else.
When
So
I went to Deanna, I was like, ma'am, let me just invite you on the show. She was like, me? You want me to
no,
come
for
on the
real.
show?
It's like, no, but I haven't done
I
anything.
was like, girl, you wrote a whole ass book. Do you know how many people think and talk about writing a book and maybe start but never finish or never start at all? And
I am
you've
trying
done
to help
it.
them do that. Yes, I was one of those people. I didn't think I should publish this, but enough people told me, "Hey, this might be pretty good. Maybe you should publish it." So I decided, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And now I'm helping other people do that. So that's
So
good too.
we shall have no more imposter syndrome, ma'am.
Well,
No
I
more.
don't know, but
I
but I'll keep
said
writing. That's all I can promise.
we shall have no more imposter syndrome,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's better. Thank you. Now, let's get on to the next question, shall we?
Let's do it.
What would
You're
you
awesome.
say are, oh, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, what would you say are the moral dilemmas that Eric and Aaliyah face as they confront the potential dangers of Aaliyah's rare power?
Rare, like power, because it's not really a power.
It's,
It
yeah,
gives other
but
people
it's,
power.
yeah. So, it's still a power. It's just,
Well, there's the trope. So I love tropes. Okay,
Okay.
this book is a whole ass trope. We're gonna say that. And so I love, like, I think one of my favorite tropes is forbidden love,
Okay.
and the fact that Eric is a ward and
Mhm.
he's not allowed to have a love interest, and every
Mhm.
time he has, it's worked out very poorly for him.
Yeah.
And Aaliyah is just gotten out of this abusive relationship.
Mhm.
She doesn't really trust men or like want to be in a relationship where she needs to give them that sort of trust or power
Mhm.
over her.
Mhm.
And to know that Eric is a vampire and the power that she holds is in her blood.
Mhm.
There's definitely an attraction for Eric to Aaliyah. She has a scent
Mhm.
that everybody who's a
Mhm.
supernatural creature can sense. They sense
Mhm.
something different. And so the fact that they're not supposed to be together, that every single creature, as soon as they figure out that the Eos is around again,
Mhm.
they everybody's after it because they want
Mhm.
that power. They want to be the most powerful. They also want to overthrow the Accords. They want to
Mhm.
overthrow this council that's put themselves in power.
Right.
So the danger lies in the fact that Eric is a ward and has feelings and essentially falls in love for this Eos.
Mhm.
And with the two of them being together, if the Accords or anybody else ever find them, Eric can unlock Aaliyah's power, and then Aaliyah is able to make anyone an Accord, a council
Mhm.
member, and give
Mhm.
them that sort of power.
Mhm.
So the council is after them because they don't want to be kicked aside. They don't want to be overthrown.
Mhm.
We have Theo, who's working for the council. He's working
Mhm.
for the Accords.
Mhm.
Also, still in love with Eric.
Mhm.
And so he's back once he realizes that Eric is back in town. He's trying to get back into Eric's life,
Mhm.
but at the same time, trying to get information for the council.
Yes.
So there's a lot of tension that
Mhm.
happens between Theo and Eric. A tension that Eric definitely does not want. He
Yeah.
does not want anything to do with Theo, and Theo
Well,
is
I
still
mean,
in
and
love with
rightfully so.
Eric.
I'm not gonna say what it is, but I mean,
Right.
come on now.
There is some history. There's some past.
Mhm.
And yeah, Theo has not been the best of partners, let's say, for Eric.
Mhm.
So he has his reasons not to trust Theo for sure.
I do have a little side note though with
What's up?
Aaliyah and Sasha. I just love that scene where she's like, yeah, you're gonna go on a date, and she's like totally talking for her. I'm like, Sasha,
For
you
her.
are doing too much right now. I need you to
that's
calm
literally my best friend
down.
right there.
Like that, and Miranda, when Miranda was like, she's sitting there like, well, text him, and she's typing out, she's trying to read, and Miranda's like, and send.
Send. Too bad.
Like, bitch, did you just hit send on my phone before I was ready? And Miranda's like, all done.
Yep, done. Too bad. that Sasha and Miranda are a combination of my two best friends that you talked about that I've had for over 25, almost 30 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time, long time. And I took those characters. One of my best friends' name is Miranda. And I took those characters, I took their personalities, and I smashed them into Miranda and Sasha. Um, and like some of the things that they've done and said, like the text message thing that actually happened. So yeah.
Really?
And we're still friends, so I guess that means I love her.
Wow. So she did that to you. She hit send. Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh my sweet Jesus. What is he? And I had the same feelings. I was like, was that too soon? Like, wait.
And she was just like,
what if he messages me back? And she's like, he's gonna message you back or he's not, and that's it. And the point of that scene was that, like, it doesn't matter what you do or what you say, the message still exists,
right?
And like, he's still on the other end, so whether she reads it or she doesn't read it,
it's still there,
and he still sent it. So just go ahead and look at it.
Yeah, because she said exactly that. She was like, look, you holding it to your chest ain't doing shit. The message is already still on your phone.
It's still on the phone. It's already sent.
So you might as well just stop playing.
Look at that way in life when they're hesitant to do something. And they're like worried about it. It's like, guess what? You only really have to worry after you do it.
Right.
Because all the time leading up to something, nothing changes.
Right.
Until you actually take action and do something.
Right. So, yep.
That's all.
Love them.
It was a little message hidden in there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I totally picked up on that. But I just love Miranda and Sasha. I love that they are her just, support. But, and I'm purposely not asking about Miranda because.
Thank you.
But all I'm going to say is. That's
Miranda's a wonderful best friend.
She is. But.
She's a ride or die.
But she's a ride or die for a reason.
Yes.
And you ain't have to do her like that.
I like secrets, and whenever I look at writing, it's always a challenge. I try and challenge myself with something, and Miranda was one of those challenges to accomplish Miranda's plotline and Miranda's character story. And so there were specific things that I did throughout the story to set that up. So that it would have that effect. that it would have that effect. And that's it. That's all we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's all we're going to talk about. So let's talk about redemption and hope.
Redemption?
Yes. And how that influenced the choices Eric made as he kind of grappled with his long, painful existence.
Eric is. I'm going to give too much away here. Eric is like all of these characters have some of me in them.
Okay.
And Eric.
So you're a vampire. You've been living for 300 years.
Black don't crack. I mean, nothing. Nothing. Eric,
secret
he has hoped a lot. He has loved, and he has lost, and he has been betrayed. Imagine being depressed, heavily depressed, losing, as he says in the book. Imagine everyone you know being born and dying. Every relationship that you make ends. There's nothing that's ever permanent except how you feel and the memories that you have, the memories of loss that you have. And so Eric is secretly desperate for companionship. He hopes for a brighter future. But the only thing that he can see is the fact that the Accords have a chain around his neck, that his sister no longer sees him the way she once did. They were no longer amicable.
Mm-hmm.
And his older brother literally is just a lackey for the council. And Eric feels that Lucian just doesn't really care. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
has bigger fish to fry.
Mm-hmm.
And so Eric has been very alone. He's lost trust in people.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't see the point to looking toward the future.
Mm-hmm.
And on that fateful night, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, when Aaliyah finds him, um, he finds something that sparks his interest again.
Mm-hmm.
He finds something that he wants to know more about
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Right.
And I think that's what helps him to continue going.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there is this, like, hey, she's powerful, and he's never experienced this kind of power before, and what
Mm-hmm.
is she, what could she be, and like,
And
there's
she
this
cares
huge
about
mystery
me,
now,
and
and she cares enough
yeah.
to try and save this stranger that
Mm-hmm.
she's never met before, to put her life at risk
Mm-hmm.
to help save a stranger. And so
Mm-hmm.
that, for him, he thought maybe this isn't the time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe maybe there is something that I'm curious enough about to keep going on,
Mm-hmm.
finding out more about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by the end, not even by the end, but like throughout their relationship, let's say, when they get to
Mm-hmm.
know each other, he comes out of this depression. He comes
Mm-hmm.
out of this need for an end, and starts planning for the future. He
Right.
starts saying, hey, let's go to a party, or hey, let's go on a date, let's do this
Right.
and let's do that. And it's less about him and more about her.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, all he had was himself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Although
it's
he
heavy,
does
but
creep
it's
me out
also
the
so
way
much
he was
fun.
always like, when he was trying to get to know her, and he's like, I can smell her blood, and she's just so.
Yeah,
And I'm like, bruh, can you calm down? Like,
I tried to play heavy on the senses in
yes,
this book, because I'm so bad with senses. That was one of my challenges. It was
really,
on
couldn't
my
tell.
board every day, that I had see, smell, taste, hear, touch, and then I had to, like, every scene I had to go back and address those senses within the scene.
Well, you could not
So
tell that it was a weak point, because he was like, oh, I can just smell her. And I'm just like, bruh's like getting a hard on right there at the restaurant.
yes,
Just, just like,
while Theo's over here, like, I
right.
miss you, I love
Yeah.
you so much.
He's
And
like,
he's
whatever.
like, dude, chill.
It's like, this
He's
train
like, you're
has
the
left the
past.
building.
You're the
I'm
past, and
focused
she
on
is the
this.
present.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
is, I think, also what I called those chapters.
Yeah, you did. Yep. Absolutely. So, how do you think the works of Black authors that are about witches and vampires contribute to a broader conversation about representation and inclusivity in speculative fiction?
Can we go back to Bonnie and the Vampire Diaries? And how poorly, like, most Black women were treated in supernatural and fantasy stories.
Right.
Like, we were always just the scapegoat, or like the go-to, get out of jail free, like whatever. And I think with with the books that I'm reading today and the authors that are out today, both young and old, and from wherever in the world, it's my idea is that the more we put out there, the more we make it mainstream, the more we like put it in people's faces and say, hey, this book is just as good as this book. And this one is based on a Black character. Right. And not just about the struggle of the Black character.
Yeah,
but like,
no.
Hey, that's another thing, that it's like, it's always about, what was it? 7 Days in June. There's a line in the book 7 Days in June, where the author is, sorry, the main character is an author. And her agent goes to her and says, you know what? Nobody wants to buy a book unless it's about the Black struggle. No one wants to buy a Black author or a book about a Black MC unless it's about the Black struggle. And when I read that line, I was like, holy crap.
That shit, girl, we curse on this show.
This is really true.
Right.
This is true. They want to read about, like, and it doesn't sell if the struggle isn't there. And it's like, it's so hard to separate that struggle from the life of the identity, I should say, of a Black character and a Black
Mm-hmm.
author.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, long story short, I guess I do think that the more we have Black characters and Black authors telling
Mm-hmm.
stories, especially in fantasy and sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
kudos, because that is lacking
Right.
heavily.
Right.
We have a lot of indie authors out there that are
Mm-hmm.
not getting, and I'm not just talking about myself. There are so many that are not getting the recognition they deserve, and thankfully, through podcasts like Between the Reads and from people like you, we have a little bit more reach.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Mm-hmm.
the amount of Black authors in fantasy and sci-fi that are mainstream right now is absolutely minuscule.
Woefully
In comparison, woefully
yes.
minuscule
Mm-hmm.
in the comparison to any other, especially European author or like white author. Let's say, let's be real, the white authors out there,
right? Right.
So anybody, I always encouraging. Like I said, I'm encouraging people who are drafting books right now. Get it out, get it done, because your story needs to be told. The best piece of advice I was given: someone out there is waiting for your exact book. Your book that you're writing right now is going to be someone's next favorite book.
Yep.
But you need to get it out there and give it that chance to reach that person. So yes,
and I just love and not get it out there, y'all, with the Canadian accent. Get it out there.
Get it out there.
Out. Get it out.
Get it out. Get it out there.
Get it out there. Always love that accent. Always. Whenever I'm watching like HGTV and other shows, and they're going and house hunting or something like that, and I can always tell when it's it's Canadian.
You know what's funny? My editor, Clovis Editorial, so her name is Genevieve Clovis, the most brilliant editor. I have to give her mad props.
Mad props to you, girl.
Mad props. She owns a bookstore in Toronto, and her brother is actually a host of one of the HGTV shows that you probably been watching.
No way.
6 Degrees. It's so funny.
Wow.
I went in there one day and I was like, Genevieve, I went to her bookstore. I was like, hey, it's great to meet you, and blah, blah, blah. And her brother walks in and I'm like, I recognize you. He's like, yeah,
familiar.
I've probably seen you around. And she's like, he hosts this TV show. Oops. I was a little embarrassed as well.
A host.
I did not.
A host in a boot. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to say please and thank you way too much.
Listen,
as well.
It's always a good thing. Never too much please or thank you. So I have 2 questions from author Montrez.
Ooh.
Yes. Because I know I remember that she loved your book. And so I kind of dipped into, yes, she is. And I dipped into her DM and said, hey, you want to ask some questions? And she was like, yes, thank you. So the first one is, she says, your audiobook was astounding in quality, one of the best I've ever read. Can you talk about that process and experience producing your first audiobook?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Montrez, by the way. I always appreciate your support, and I definitely love supporting you as well. The audiobook, okay. I knew before I even published that I wanted to do an audiobook because I don't sit and read physical books a lot. I'm a full-time working mom. I got a 5-year-old, a husband, and I'm trying to write books.
Right.
So I don't have a lot of time to just sit and read. So I wanted to do an audiobook. And for a long time, I wasn't sure because my book is from multiple points of view. So there are 7 characters who each have their own point of view. And throughout the book, the 7 characters tell the overarch of the story until we get to the end. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do in the audiobook for that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do one character or like one narrator and have them voice every character, or have 7 narrators and have each one do their own character. And I put it out to a lot of people, and actually a lot of people said just one narrator, but I decided I like full cast audiobooks, so I'm going to go ahead and do a full cast. So I auditioned for like a year in 2022. In 2021. I went through hundreds of different people, and I auditioned, and I finally found 7 people, and 4 of them had never done an audiobook before,
Oh,
ever.
wow.
And one of them was Eric. So
Wow.
he was fantastic, though. His name
Okay.
was Jake Sullivan,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a theater, like he was a theater major. Um, he's now released his album 40 Nights Music.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you
Okay.
want to listen to him, you can do that as well. But
Okay.
it was a great experience. So I got my Google Sheets together,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody had access to the Google Sheets, and one person would upload their daily, and then I would listen to it. I would make my notes. They would come back with the pickups,
Mm-hmm.
and this went on for about a year. I learned so many different programs.
Wow.
I learned Audacity. I learned
Uh-huh.
how to navigate through ACX.
Mm-hmm.
I have a film degree,
Mm-hmm.
film production management from U of T, from York University in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to use that to create the contracts
Mm-hmm.
for each of the talents.
Mm-hmm.
And then I composed the entire, like, composed it. I edited it together
Mm-hmm.
and uploaded it to a bunch of different websites. Findaway Voices is
Mm-hmm.
like the main one.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the book that I always wanted, the audiobook that I always wanted. So each character, each chapter is read by one narrator that represents that character,
Right.
until the end of the book. And
Wow.
it's still my favorite. Is it weird
Yeah.
to say that I listen to my own book?
No, not at
Like,
all. Not at
because I just
all.
love the way that these voice actors just deliver my work. And I was just so surprised. It doesn't feel like mine when I
Mm-hmm.
listen to it. It doesn't
Right.
feel like mine.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I'm a little
Well,
weird.
you mentioned Audacity. When Between the Reads originally started, it was just audio, and I used Audacity to edit.
Yes,
So, yeah.
it's a fun program. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that you can do in there, and I learned a
Yeah.
lot about a lot about balancing, and a lot about just different, like, hertz and
Right. Right. All that stuff. Mm-hmm.
nothing. I had no idea about it before, so
Right.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and thank you, Montrez, very
Well,
much for
and she
asking.
has another question which kind
Oh,
of
here we go.
piggybacks off of what you just talked about. She said the
Sure.
EOS key is multi POV and all of
Mhm.
the characters are well fleshed out and compelling. Which character was the hardest POV for you and why?
Hmm. Um. Well, I guess that's twofold. One, Theo, but only
Mm-hmm.
because Theo was the last person I cast,
Mm-hmm.
and took the longest.
Okay.
I had been trying to cast the Theo character. I
Mm-hmm.
think he only has like 3 or 4 chapters in there,
Okay.
but I just wanted a voice. I was really trying to keep um, the voice actor as close to the character as possible. So if
Mm-hmm.
my character was Asian, I wanted an Asian actor. If my character was black, I wanted a black actor, so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard to find um, like black voice actors who could do who had the right age. So
Mm-hmm.
like the age, the vocal age,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have an accent
Mm-hmm.
that had the accent that matched the character,
Mm-hmm.
and also gave that feel of the Theo that I had in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a challenge for sure. But when it came to writing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I think Aaliyah, maybe.
Okay.
She, and not in the sense that it was hard to write her like what she was supposed to say, but I think
Mm-hmm.
I started writing Aaliyah's character more like a journal.
Okay.
Um, and so it became hard. Like I
Okay.
started facing a lot of like buried triggers
Okay.
and my things from my past
Mm-hmm.
that I thought I was okay with,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out I hadn't really settled as much as I would have liked to.
Mm-hmm.
So writing Aaliyah and like the things that happen to Aaliyah and like the way that she looks at the world,
Mm-hmm.
some of that was difficult.
Okay.
But yeah, I enjoyed writing every one of these characters. Like it was, I listened to multi narrator books all the time,
Okay.
and I just love the way it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
So writing the story that way wasn't too hard. Writing in third person was hard. That was
Mhm.
another challenge that I set for myself. But
Okay.
no one
Okay.
POV in particular.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there you go, Montrez, and thank you for those
Thank you,
2 questions.
Montrez.
Yes, we love Montrez.
Everybody go check out Erin. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Errant, y'all, Montrez, Errant, she's been on the show. Go check out the
Let me give her her
episode.
flowers. Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I know she's probably going to be smiling when she hears this.
She's been so supportive. Like I
Yes,
can't.
she is.
Excuse me. I can't give her props where they're.
Yeah,
They're
she's amazing. She really is.
Yeah.
So, what's next for you in the writing world?
Oh, this next book. So two things actually.
Okay.
I have started writing book 2, so I'm about half.
Okay.
Actually, I'm about 3/4 through the first draft of book
Okay.
2. And book 2 picks off where book 1 left off.
Okay.
It's about a month later. And Aaliyah finds herself in a different situation with different people, but the same problems.
Okay.
So the council is still an issue. And the fact that she has this power that everybody will soon find out about is also an issue.
Okay.
So book 2, book 2 is also going to feature a different type of relationship. I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't read the end of book 1. But book 2 is a little steamier.
Okay.
I will put that out there. So book 1, it was a literal introduction to the characters. I wanted to introduce you to Aaliyah, to Eric, to the Winters, to the council, so you could kind of get the backstory. So book 1 is the backstory. Book 2 is a little more backstory about the different factions, so about the witches and the werewolves, the demons, and the vampires, and the council, how they came to be. We learn a little bit more about Lucian and Grace. Grace would be Aaliyah's mother, and Lucian and Grace were both in the Accords and the council together. And what else? There's like new characters that come through. There are new challenges for me. So I call it a challenge, but I've never written a non-binary character before, and so I've introduced a non-binary character who has a great role in this book. I have yeah, it's there's a lot. There's like I don't want to say too much because there's a lot going on, but it's a little steamier for sure. Aaliyah kind of comes into her own. She's seeing a therapist now, so we still have that mental health that carries through the second book. She's still battling her demons and trying to find herself. So the last book was our introduction to Aaliyah, and then this next book is going to be how Aaliyah reacts now to the world that she's come to realize exists. So, yeah. And then on top of that, I'm reading a story about Aaliyah's mother, Grace, and Lucian. And like their connection to the council. So that's probably going to be a novella. And I've already written about half of that. So that's coming.
Oh, wow. Too. Okay. So you're busy.
Yeah. I am busy. I got to keep busy. That's writing is my self-care. It's the way I take care of my mental
that's
health,
good.
So,
that's good. That's good. That's important. So where can readers find your book?
The ebook is available pretty much anywhere. I mean, I think I was just released on Walmart recently. The audiobook, again, you can find on like Amazon, audiobooks.com, Scribed, Kobo, Ratukin, anywhere. And then the print books, right now, they're only available through my website, dmlurie.com, or you can go to Amazon in any country and buy it there as well.
All right. And where can we find you on social media and the internet?
I am a DM Lurie. That's DMLEWRY. You can find me on Instagram or on TikTok mainly. I do have a Twitter feed. I'm not great at tweeting.
Me either.
I'm horrible.
I'm not great at the tick of the talking either. I'm an Instagram person.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm definitely Instagram is my home. I have my Instagram fam who are very, very supportive.
Right.
And honestly, they're the ones that keep me going, keep me writing every day.
Yeah.
And keep me doing fun things like this. Like I'm just so happy that you asked me to take part in this and be on Between the Reads. Thank you so much. This is my first podcast, so there you go.
Stop. Really?
Yeah.
Yay! That's only happened to me like maybe twice before in the 3 years that I've been doing this, that I've been somebody's first
podcast.
Yay! Can't tell.
Thank you so much for having me.
You just,
oh gosh.
You were just like a pro the whole way through.
When the camera's off, I'm going to worry about this later. Because while you're doing it, there's nothing to worry about. It's happening.
Right.
But after it's done, then you get to think about hindsight and just like stress about all the things that you like. I'm already thinking about how I've just mumbled through half of this.
No, you did not. No, you did not. Absolutely not. You were amazing. So we have come to the end of our show. Thank you for sharing your time and talents here with us,
so
Deanna.
Much for having me, Audra.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So much fun.
Good. I'm so glad.
Please, I will definitely be promoting. I thank you so much for the work that you do for indie authors, especially Black indie authors.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to see that your show is being broadcast and it's being played more and more every day.
Yeah.
The work that you do, it is invaluable.
Oh,
right? Especially as an indie author, it means so much to us to be able to get our name out there and to get our work out there to even 1, 2, 10, 1,000 more people. Like it. Please don't ever stop.
Okay, I won't.
So long as you're enjoying it, please don't ever stop.
It is my passion. I will not stop, and I thank you for those kind words. That means a lot. It means a lot.
It's not a compliment. It's just the truth.
See, she's trying to make me cry, and I'm not gonna do it. No, not gonna cry today. Not here. No, ma'am.
We're not crying today. We're happy.
We're happy.
We're happy, and we're happy to be with each other right now. And
yes.
Happy to see your face, and happy to be able to talk with you about
the
EOS Key and what's coming up.
Yay. Thank you so much. And y'all know what time it is. At the end of every show, I leave you with a quote. And this quote comes from me. I wrote this today. Haha. It's usually somebody famous, but today it's me.
Drop it.
And it goes like this. Black narratives, penned by Black hands, weave a tapestry of diversity, resilience, and richness that the world's literary fabric deeply needs. Through their stories, Black authors illuminate the kaleidoscope of our shared human experience, adding depth, color, and truth. Their voices are not just a whisper in the wind, but a resonant song, echoing through time, validating existence, and inspiring change. Hey, until next time, y'all. You know what to do. Grab a book and read. And
thank you so much.
I'm out. Bye-bye. Thank you for lending me your ear today. If you've enjoyed this independent podcast, you can help me continue to shine the light on Black authors and their stories by becoming a patron at patreon.com/betweenthereads or by giving a one-time gift at www.ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. That's ko-fi.com/betweenthereadspodcast. Tune in next time for another great episode.